Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Warner with EntreDot, and here we are on Monday Night Live with EntreDot. So I promised earlier today I was going to talk about women entrepreneurs and how to help them. I pondered over this because, quite frankly, I'm not an expert on this subject in particular, although I've been doing some reading recently. And a lot of it is being caused by the fact that yesterday, March 8th, was International Women's Day. Apparently it's a big deal. And there are lots of, on the internet, articles celebrating it. So I want to start with what little I know and what little perspective I have of why there's this disparity between the presence of women entrepreneurs versus male entrepreneurs. What I believe I know is that women-owned businesses, the number of them is increasing and increasing rapidly. I'll conjecture later as to why I think that's occurring. So it's encouraging that there are more and more women business owners as time goes on here. I know in the employment world, more women are at work than men now, by a little bit, but it's a shift, if you will, from what it used to be. So some other things that gave me a clue about what's going on here is that when it comes to resources and the level of success that women have, there's a long way to go to catch up with what male entrepreneurs are achieving. I read that only 2%, a little over 2%, women entrepreneurs get venture capital funding, institutional investment, having a little bit to do with angel investing and seeing the number of women coming forward as the owner of an entrepreneurial business, mainly tech companies and biotech companies. There are very few female-owned tech companies. Another is only 2% of women entrepreneurs get a second round of funding. Men, on the other hand, get almost 20 times that. I don't know why that is. I think those two statistics really come out of the tech world and the biotech world. Those companies with high barriers to entries. But another statistic I read that only 2% of women-owned business ever get beyond 1 million in revenue. I fell on the floor when I read that. But also my experience in working with small business says that may not be far off. Also, I'm not sure that's a problem, but it is what it is. So that's a set of perspectives that have been rattling around in my head over the last several days. So what I first decided to do for tonight is to divide up this world of entrepreneurs into two piles. One is those that are with businesses that have a high barrier to entry, typical of high-tech, biotech companies that need a lot of money to get moving and grow. And the second category is small business world. Low or lower, much lower barriers to entry. Still need money to start, but not nearly as much. So let's talk about the two piles a minute. Let's take the high barrier to entry pile. This is the world of the tech company or any technology-based company that building something new that never existed before. First thing I observe is that the numbers of these is quite small. We read a lot about what's going on around the Raleigh-Durham area and other cities throughout the United States. And you read all the press about tech companies, biotech companies, and their success and what's going on with funding. There's a lot of visibility to these kinds of companies, but they need financing, and a lot of it. The people that run them have a tech background and maybe had a company or two already, so they're serial entrepreneurs. There are special communities that nurture these kinds of companies. Witness our own area here in Raleigh-Durham with HQ Raleigh and all of its spin-offs around town as they suck up space for accelerators and incubators and major events to help these tech entrepreneurs. Same for the American Tobacco Underground in Durham. Same kind of thing going on. CED, which goes way back to the mid-'80s in terms of supporting entrepreneurship, mainly backed by the venture capital world in terms of sponsorships and other companies that have had a lot of interest in seeing the technology companies and the biotech companies grow in North Carolina. So that's the big money world. So it's that world that I said earlier, very few women are the founders of these kinds of companies, unfortunately. Now, some of you can name 3 or 4 women or 5 women right off the top of your heads. I can too, but it's not 100, just in our area alone. The other pile is small businesses, the small business world. I kind of define as small businesses is those companies in the United States that are going to have and do have less than 50 employees. Any study I've ever done for economic development or anything like that, you can discover rather readily that 90% of all the companies that exist in our counties and in our state, and I think probably throughout the United States, 90% of them are companies of less than 50 employees. In fact, it's skewed way down to the 1 to 15 employees in a company. The small business world. What are these? These are services companies like marketing and accounting, law firms, retail firms. You go up and down Main Street of any town in North Carolina, and you see lots and lots of retail companies. Those are small business owners. Real estate firms. I mean, there's lots of women in these. I don't know what the statistics are, but there's some very successful real estate agents, and the ones I know are all women. So other small businesses are, arts and fashion, social causes. So, and the list goes on. I think you get the picture. So imagine low barrier to entry companies, less than 50 employees, a whole lot less money to get started in the first place, but some, particularly if you've got to build something or you need a prototype. So you're now going to be up to $50,000, $100,000 to get started, getting ready for manufacturing. The kind of people that help this crowd are SCORE, with its group of mentors and coaches, the Small Business Technology Development Center, downtown Raleigh, and quite frankly, in most major cities and towns in North Carolina, in fact, throughout the United States. Private mentors, individuals that are willing to spend time with them. Small consulting firms that provide marketing services, sales services, development services, and the list goes on. So those are the 2 piles. Tech, high barrier to entry, small businesses, could be technology based, but less than 50 employees ever. The split between these 2 is like 90-10. 90% of all these businesses you want to shake a stick at, 90% are small businesses. The other 10 are the high flyers. So The other thing you might observe, and I believe to be true, that despite what pile you're in, what you got to do to start and run a small business is about the same. You have to have a well-defined market and know that there's a set of needs that you're going to be able to fulfill to certain buyers within it. And hopefully it's a rather large number of them. You have to do the market research work in either kind of business. You better understand your competition and how to beat them. You need to have a marketing plan that reaches these people, the buyers I mean, and qualifies them. And you've got to have a pretty good handle on how to actually reach them through your marketing campaigns and programs. Of course, you need sales, direct or indirect. The financing still has to be done. Small business world usually comes up with their own money or some family money or friends that will loan them money. In the biotech world, they'll get some traction with friends and family, then go out to the angel groups and raise a few $100,000, then eventually to the venture crowd, the institutional investors, and raise many millions. Still got to perform good, solid leadership and management practice. So there's a lot of similarities between the two. So for men or women, the early challenges are about the same. So that doesn't explain this disparity in the difference in success between men and women entrepreneurs. So we got to look somewhere else. So why is there a difference? Quite frankly, I don't definitively know. So I'm going to share many years of experience and speculate with you why this could be the case. So I'm going to relate to my past experience. There are, I think you go back to where women are in school, high school, pre-high school. Back in those days, if you will, I think a couple of things have to be occurring for these young girls to later have a great deal of interest in entrepreneurship. One is the parents have got to support them. And when a young girl expresses interest in technology or life sciences, that the parents encourage them to learn more and provide them opportunities to do so. The STEM programs that are going on in schools today are a step in the right direction. They've been going on for years, as long as I can remember, 10, 15 or more, and getting stronger as the years go by here, that more and more young girls are seeing this and seeing this opportunity. And those that have the intellectual capacity and the interest can take advantage of them. So in the school systems, the teachers and the administration have to be on the lookout for young people who should be in these STEM programs. I'm sure they're doing it today. But I think the yield from this has yet to be seen in large numbers, where these young girls become young women, go to college and graduate, and go into a technology field and later want to start their own company. You know, if a young girl in a STEM program today is really, really good, we won't see that person for 15 years. As they go through the rest of their schooling, get some experience in the business world, and finally discover that they should be an entrepreneur and start their own company. So I think there's more to come. I have hopes that we have within our communities a large number of women who will be future business owners. And we all, as people who are trying to help people in entrepreneurship, should be on the lookout for them and help them. So I also know, because I've participated in many, in the high schools and our community colleges, there are a considerable number of entrepreneurship programs, and they're pretty good. The teachers are mainly running them. The really smart ones bring in outsiders to help this along. So I've seen these entrepreneurship programs in not only junior colleges and high schools, but in college as well, undergrad, as well as the graduate schools. So so a young lady in high school is really interested in entrepreneurship and actually participated in STEM and in entrepreneurship programs at the high school level, certainly will, as long as they've had a great experience, will continue to do that on through college and graduate school. I think once they get the entrepreneurship bug, it doesn't go away. There is no vaccine for it. You kind of got it, and you're going to stick with it and have a dream to be able to start your own business someday. And that's maybe where you're headed. So in that whole scene, what the heck is regular old people like us, what the heck can we do to help young women fulfill this dream that we hope that many of them have? And if I had to put one word on it, I'd say the word is engage. That these young women need to engage the entrepreneurship community, and aggressively so. We as senior adults, responsible adults, need to engage them and help them. Let me say more what I mean. So I'm asserting that these young girls are having difficulty because of perhaps lack of preparedness to become an entrepreneur. They didn't get enough encouragement and lost their way. The kind of help that they could be getting is not visible to them. They're not taking, even if they've heard about a program, it's not been confrontational enough to really convince them that this is something you can do. It goes back to the parents again. The parents have to be sensitive to what these programs are and help these young ladies take advantage of. So let me go through just a few more points and talk about engagement, what it might look like. So for young female potential entrepreneurs with a business idea, or just wanting to explore what's going on in entrepreneurship, is go to networking events, join networking groups, and not just sit there like a bump on the log and listen to the speaker, but engage with other entrepreneurs. Go there with a purpose, ask your questions, seek out what looks like to be the leaders of the group and talk to them, get advice. Take advantage of shared experiences. As you move along in life as a young girl, you can share your experiences with others. Don't be ashamed that it's kind of nominal in your opinion. It may not be to others. Engaging means sharing your experiences with others and listening to their experiences as well. Make new connections. Some of them may be lasting connections for the rest of your life, but be visible. So if you're visible enough, and I'll say it this way, I don't really mean it as strongly as it sounds, but be bold, be outspoken, be interested, be engaging, ask questions. That way, lots of people will get to know who you are. So if you do this over and over again, particularly in the same events, but going on to others, you'll start to be recognizable. You'll be recognized for your potential as an entrepreneur. So that's one thing. network. But when you do this, particularly when you are in the midst of starting a business, ask for help. You're not alone. You don't have to be alone. The supporting community in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I would assert many other places in the United States, loves to help young entrepreneurs, male or female, but you got to ask for it. Actually seek it out. You can even ask, who could help me with this technology problem? Who can tell me more about this kind of a business? Guys like me will tell you. Just you ask. I don't know that you have that question if you don't ask it. So select and seek out experienced people that could give you good advice. And join the networking groups where these people hang out. So actively seeking them out. So have a target or two. But if you don't ask, it'll take you a long time to get to know what you need to know. Be curious, for God's sakes. Ask. I'd say also be well read. There's lots and lots of entrepreneurship books, and ask any entrepreneur to give you their reading list, and you'll get the conversion code and books on marketing and traction books, and there's actually a book called Traction, and the list goes on. But these books will teach you the concepts of business and business discipline. And you can read about business success and why other entrepreneurs were successful. Read about successful women entrepreneurs and how they did it. I'll just take a little bit of a tangent here. I probably should have said it earlier, but I've not at all admitted or called out the fact that there could be some discrimination going on here. I hate to think that. I don't think a lot of people I hang out with don't seem to be like that. If I am, it's not my intent to be. I may say some bad things now, they may get me in trouble. But back in the old days, though, a lot of this was going on, and there's probably still some of it today, where women are kind of put in a secondary position. The old glass ceiling we used to read about, I think probably in many places still exists. But I'm coming from the point of view, to hell with all that. You be successful by your own actions. So be well read. And you can read about that subject as well if you want. Back to the main line here. So those of you who are successful women entrepreneurs, be a mentor. Share what you know. Actively approach other women. Reach out to them and see if you can help. You don't force yourself down their throats. I know all that. But by your presence and your generosity and your willingness to give your time, willingness to give materials, willingness to recognize potential and actively seek out how you can help certain entrepreneurs. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I could give you a list of 5 or 6 very, very successful women entrepreneurs in the Research Triangle Park who do this. I see them frequently, actively trying to help others in lots of different ways. So they exist too, but the more women entrepreneurs that take a little bit of their time and kind of this giving back mode that we often need to be in to help others and draw along behind us successful people that'll be really successful entrepreneurs of the future. So that in 24 minutes or less is my view of how to help women entrepreneurs be successful. It really comes down to ask for your help, give help, and be engaged. Be engaged. That's the message for the day. Hope that was helpful. And hope to see you around the campus. Again, I'm Bill Warner with EntreDot. Have a great evening.